Other more individuals that have been killed by illegal migrants in the state of Maryland alone. So I don't have time to go up there and mourn no foreign woman who was in this country for God knows why. She herself may have been an illegal migrant for all I know. Right now, we as I said, the state of Maryland is my concern first. Me and mine is first and foremost. State of Maryland is my concern, but the United States ultimately. That's my concern. These other people, I can't. That guy, DeCarlos Brown, if anything, that man was failed by the system. He clearly needed some type of help. His mother said he was schizophrenic. She even had to say, I can't do nothing with him. She had to put him out of her home. But, he was failed by the system. And so that's what needs to be addressed. But this foreign woman, I'm with Ronnie. People are only bringing this to the forefront because that man is black, but not because this foreign woman matters. That's not it. Because there have been other women who have been murdered, and people have brought this out. Even some young girl out in California a few years back with her twin sister on the platform, I think in Oakland or something like that. Nobody was out here mourning these people. You hear about it, it's a blip on the radar, and people going about their lives when it's us or it's the American citizens. Period. I'm not mourning that Ukrainian woman. It's sad a life was lost, but I got other things to worry about.
And that's fair, Kush. That's the way you're supposed to react. Your first priority is your own people. My grandmama had a third grade education, and she couldn't read too good, but she said, baby, sweep around your own front door before you sweep around mine. We've been brainwashed to care more about the dominant society than we do about our own children. And I'm so glad that paradigm is shifting back to sanity. Dr. Amos Wilson said, in order for the system of white supremacy to function, the people have to be insane. And we've been trained to be insane. And we're just now waking up and gaining our sanity back. We're supposed to care. You're supposed to care about your own people. You're supposed to then care about the greater environment of your own people. And once you're unified and you have that power based, then you can help other people. It's just like in an airplane. If something goes wrong, you don't put the oxygen mask on the person next to you. You put it on yourself and you work from there. So although what Kush said could be perceived as extreme, it's common sense. We've just been trained to be crazy, according to Dr. Amos Wilson.
I wanted to say one more thing about Laken Riley. When she was killed, a lot of angry white boys were saying, how come you're not out marching? Like, why aren't you out marching? Like, you don't care. Just like they don't care about the Pakistanis raping all their girls in the UK. Little girls, 10, 11, and 12. They don't care about that. They don't care about Laken Riley, but they did care when they saw the boogeyman. This is a nightmare to them. They're actually seeing someone get brutally murdered in front of their face, and it's the color of person that they want to demonize. They don't care if 50 white men stab someone on public transportation, which they did. They don't care which race of people is being. It's as long as they have that picture in their mind, they're going for it. They don't care about the Ukrainian girl. They don't care about all those little girls being raped in the UK. They don't care about Laken Riley. Her mother had to advocate for her and get some legislation. There was no marching. There was no people mobilized. They don't care about any women at all. They don't care about men, women, or children that are brutalized in this system. Because I'm seeing it on the timeline every day. If really talking about people being harmed, why aren't there people out marching in the streets against men raping toddlers, which is an everyday occurrence? Why aren't they mad about that? I mean, that's the most outrageous thing that I can think of. I think we could all agree that I would actually march in the street if somebody would say, let's stop attacking children. I'd be willing to march in the street across the board, but they don't address it. They just sit on the internet looking for some video of us fighting each other when they invented bar brawls. You invented bar brawls. You invented drunk bar brawls. And now you want to find us fighting like we're the only people who had a fight.
But didn't you say that's spiritual with them? And didn't you say about Valhalla, their concept of heaven is you sit around, once you get to heaven, you sit around and eat meat and fight, isn't it?
Right. I mean, that's what they said. That was their version of heaven, eating a big feast. And I'm like, how are you fighting this hard after you just ate? You're going to get a cramp. But anyway, they act like we can't pull up videos of them fighting drunk or just fighting anywhere. They have fights all over the place. I've seen them fighting at the airport, always cussing out the stewardess somewhere, being angry and bitter. Fighting in the line to get on the plane. Everything I do in public, they're always having some comment to say, but they want to pretend like they don't think we have the right to voice an opinion. That's number one. So when you see some woman talking about, you didn't put the right condiments on my sandwich, they feel like, how dare you demand something for your money? You're not allowed to ask for the manager. You're not allowed to be a Karen. But they don't have anything to say when literal Karens are tearing their ass all over the United States or the world. But like back to what I was saying, if you're going to attack us, we can't mourn you. You're just going to be a permanent enemy. And I'm fine with that. I've gotten used to the idea. Tit for tat. You want to do tit for tat? We can do tit for tat. And as I saw it, that dumpling-headed fool was sitting up there telling me gang violence, and he got those words blown right down his throat, right in the middle of lying out of his ass, talking out of the side of his neck. He got those words shot right down his throat.
God's so beautiful. At the side of the neck.
Well, the military has it's interesting what you're saying, Wani, because Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and a lot of our great scholars said that we're at war. Neely Fuller said it as well. We're in a war. Our dear sister Vicki Dillard said something so powerful several years ago. Vicki said, America is the most beautiful battlefield on the planet, the most beautiful, convenient battlefield on the planet. Well, if what they say is true, which I believe is true, the way we look at it is they're casualties of war. That's just what happens. And if you don't want these casualties, end the war. Sagittarius, what's on your mind?
I'm going to tell you what's on my mind. Let me let you know something. Charlie Kirk, Charlie Brown, Terry Scary, wherever his name was, he made a mockery out of everybody, even God.
You there? Did my thing go out?
Yeah, my bad. I keep this man keep pestering me. Stop calling my phone. Anyways, he made a mockery out of everybody, even God. And you know what I think happened? God made a mockery out of him. That's all.
Well, again, it's very unfortunate what happened. We don't condone anybody being hurt or especially killed on our space. But I do have to say that, and I've said this before, it looked very karmatic what happened. Because, he got shot right when he was talking about gang violence, which doesn't really exist in the black neighborhood. That's such an old trope. That's a stereotype from back when I was a baby in the early 90s. Like, that's the last time I remember gang violence being a viable thing. Black people, when was the last time y'all seen a gang member? I hadn't seen a gang member in a black neighborhood walking around with a rag out their pocket since like 1996.
Well, they went into truce mode out here, and the activity was not the same.
Yeah, there is a lot of is so called a part of a gang, but they're not really like terrorizing the neighborhood. Usually, if you fuck with them, you gonna get dealt with. Usually they mind their own business. They do their own thing. You just don't fuck with them. That's all. You know what I'm saying? Mind your business. YNs don't play. Period.
Yeah,
the only gangs that I'm seeing is really a lot of these foreign gangs, i.e., these Hispanic gangs. If anything, they're the real issue. Yeah, there's black gangs out here, but it's nothing like it was back in the late '80s, early '90s, and even then it wasn't that bad because that was really condensed to just one area, which was LA area. So rest of it is mostly these. Again, it's mostly these Hispanic gangs and Caribbean.
yeah, and I serve Gen Z, the quote unquote YNs. I don't like that term because we didn't create it. Mark Carter, our brother King Mark Carter, identified that term came out of the think tank allegedly from University of Chicago, allegedly, but
That place.
Allegedly. But anyway, I serve these gentlemen, and yeah, they got heavy firepower, but their focus is on getting money. They ain't worried about like random violence. They got money, they got money plans. So it's not the same. Yeah, the only gang violence I see is like what the gentleman just said. Furthermore, I see gang violence from the system of white supremacy. It's just they use semantics. They don't call it a gang. They call it the Proud Boys.
Exactly. They have a whole lot of those gangs that they don't want to call gangs. Hiding behind motorcycles or hiding behind some other BS. But they have a lot of gangs. It's the Michigan militia. Whatever.
That's a gang. Dr. Ward, it's good to see you, bro. What's on your mind?
Hi, sir. Good evening. I'd like to speak to the topic of the room. The Europeans and their gang violence. Look here. The only people who get a pass to criticize anyone with gang violence is us FBAs.
Right.
It's only we get that pass. Everyone else, shut the fuck up. You people are pieces of shit and you know it. Look here. We black people, we do a lot of things well. One thing we don't do well, and I hope we don't do well, we don't gangster that well.
Nope.
We don't have organized crime syndicates like everyone else does. We don't. Most black people, when we get some money, we want to move out the hood and go live a good life. We don't want to continue to do that stupid gangster shit. Most of us don't. Look, I grew up in a section of New Orleans. Now, New Orleans, we don't necessarily have a gang violence because we shut that down. And most gangs in New Orleans are tied to your neighborhood. But other than that, the section, like I grew up in a mostly black area, middle class, upper middle class. There was no violence. The only violence you would have found is if you were causing it. So we don't really engage in we don't really win. When we get some money and we start doing productive things, we don't really engage in violence. But other groups do. You take a look at white people. In some areas of Southern California, they got these surfer gangs.
Whoa.
And even the police don't fuck with them. And these surfer gangs,
surfer gangs?
Never heard of. That's crazy.
Missed out.
Yeah, like in places like Malibu and Orange County. Yeah, they have those gangs, and these are upper middle class white people, and they want to engage in gang activity like selling drugs and all that nefarious and indecorous shit. We don't do that. Is
it meth oriented, or do you know?
It. It probably is.
I never heard of that. I lived in Orange County. I never heard of that.
I would love to see a drive-by.
I was,
but they do crime. There's crime.
I'll tell you where I got the information. I got the information from brother Dewan B. I remember a few years ago he did he did a video and he talked about all of that. So and like these other people, you take a look at these Hispanics. You take a look at Mexico. Resource wise, Mexico is rich, and you got all these drug cartels there. Now, people say if we legalize drugs, it will shut down the cartels. No, it won't. No, it won't. Right now the cartels are moving into what is supposed to be legitimate businesses.
Yep.
You take a look at the avocado farming business in Mexico. It's being taken over by the fucking cartels. These people are inherently pieces of shit. They don't have a toe to stand on to criticize us. You take a look at you take a look at what's going on in I'm going to Africa. Shit, you going like they had like they got drug gangs there and they're moving in, and they're moving into Europe and taking over things. And not only that, you got gangs in Europe. You got a lot of the gang activity in Europe is mostly Eastern Europeans. And
Armenians.
what's that?
Armenians.
Yeah, Armenians and
Romanians, they got all kind of stuff.
yeah, you take a look at
Pakistani
I don't know if
gangs.
y'all remember this, but back in the day, the United States they supported they engaged in a war in Yugoslavia to break up Yugoslavia, and one of the countries that they balkanized was Kosovo, and they supported the Kosovo Liberation Army. And the Kosovo Liberation Army, I heard in Macedonia, they used to run the biggest whorehouse in Europe.
I believe that.
Now I have some breaking news, real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
These two feminists website Jezebel paid two witches to curse Charlie Kirk. That's publicly done. They cursed him 2 days ago.
Black students, we need to know our history.
The black history we're being taught in public schools is repetitive.
As a black high school student, I want to learn more about my history in the school books.
We need to update our books.
As black American students, we deserve an accurate depiction of what history truly is.
I want to see myself in these textbooks.
In the public school system, black history is vague.
Why don't the school books ever talk about the Freedmen's Bureau?
I created the workbook for the African American family. This book helps fill in the gaps that the school books don't. Purchase the workbook for the African American family on OurStoryPublications.com and use the Cash App $Our Story Publications.